The biggest myth for companies is who want to try it is that they think that AI is one thing and that one thing will solve all the problems.
Welcome to the Mastering E-commerce Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Eitan Koter, co-CEO of Vimi. In an era of rising acquisition costs and increased competition, this podcast is dedicated to helping you drive sales, engage customers, and build meaningful communities so you can turn passive visitors into active buyers. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on future content. Now let's get started with the episode. Joining us today is Satej Sirur, a seasoned entrepreneur and the driving force behind Roketium, a platform transforming how enterprises scale visual content. After years at Amazon, Microsoft, and startup trenches, Satej set out to solve one of the marketing's biggest bottlenecks, creative production. Now, at Roketium, he empowers campaigns for some of the world's largest brands. Beyond tech, Satej is a proud dad, curious cook, and passionate advocate for building companies that people actually love working at. This is a conversation about innovation, leadership, and building with purpose. Satej, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm doing well.
Great. Satej, I love the topic for today. It's all about creative technology, innovation. It's a crossroad of so many things. But before we get started, I want you to choose like 3 words that better describe you or you are more passionate about.
Yeah, for sure. I would say a recent word that I've added to my vocabulary and continuously thinking about is mindfulness. The other one, which has always been with me, is evolution. And the last one, which is, I believe, the true pursuit of every person, which is happiness. Those are the 3 words for me.
Great. Can you explain more? Why there is a special order that is important for these words?
Not so much. Maybe each of them reinforces the other. So I think mindfulness is sort of what Socrates also said, a life not examined is not worth living. So a lot of our work is happening by default and in an autopilot mode. So just being mindful of why we are doing something, why we are feeling a certain way, it just allows us to live a very rich life, because in every moment matters. Life is not a series of destinations that you have to zip through. Every moment is special, it's unique. So just being mindful of that, being thankful for that, I think is important. Evolution again is a very happy thing. Obviously, it comes through creative destruction, but along the way, what you have gained, because you have improved yourself in some way, you have again mindfully thought about what is it that you want to improve, where do you want to go. It's not about this constant pursuit of excellence and efficiency and productivity. It's just a natural thing that happens to all of us. And at the end of it is happiness. It's a special time to be alive. We all think the world is messed up. There are so many things that are wrong, but just in every statistic, this is the safest and the best time to be alive in history. So if we are not happy at this time, then I don't think humanity is destined to be happy. So yeah, I think that's all. That is what it's all about.
Just live in the present moment, right? And are you a person of like you have like big goals, big plans, or just you do what you do, you live your life every day, just do what you love to do in terms of work, family, your hobbies?
Yeah. Big goals for sure, but you can't keep looking at the future and forget what is happening right now, because a lot of what you are doing today looks like zero compared to what the future is in your mind. You believe that future, you're trying to manifest it, but where you are today is a very small part of what you are. So if you keep reminding yourself of the future, sometimes the present looks immaterial. So really try to enjoy the time that I have. As a technologist, always, and a sci-fi nerd, as you can see from the Star Trek poster in the back, you're always thinking about the future, always waiting for all the cool stuff that is going to happen, but you are the one making it. So really try to enjoy time. We have 2 very young kids now, so love to spend time with them and seeing their machine learning models evolve every day as they absorb more data and more training. So that's a fascinating experience as well.
Nice. So why creative? What was the original spark behind founding Roketium, back in 2015?
Yeah, so Roketium started not as what we do today, but really as a platform where people could make games to share their knowledge, ideas, inspiration. It really connects to that second point that I have of evolution. if a lot of people have great ideas and a lot of knowledge, but it's hard to share it, hard to consume it, then we wanted to make that easy. So we very quickly moved away from that idea because it was just an idea in our head. Nobody really wanted it. It was meant to be a B2C app that people could download and make content from. From there, we changed to different ways of expressing your ideas and knowledge. It became stories, then became videos, and that was what we were doing for the first 5 years. But this space where we are today really started because a very large e-commerce company came to us. They have an advertising business as well. They came to us and said that they want to build a product that lets their advertisers make content very quickly, content that does not need multiple rounds of review, multiple steps, additional steps to get the content ready for their platform. And as we heard about it, we realized that a lot of marketers go through it. A lot of agencies, ad platforms are going through this. So we should be building that product. So in 2020, we decided to build this product. Obviously, AI was used from day one, but AI back then was different. So we had to build a lot of that on our own. But creative was something, honestly, we stumbled into. It was not something that we are born into. It's not our core area of expertise, creative or marketing or analytics for that matter.
Yeah, so that's all evolves around agility, right? Agility in your mindset, right, of decision makers, and also on the way you develop the product. Yeah, having a mindset of listening to customer needs rather just fell in love with the product that you try. Just understand that it's an evolution, as you said, but the evolution is changing, and you need to have that flexibility mindset.
Exactly. And in B2B, it's very hard to have ego and still be successful because you're not building this product for yourself. You're building it for somebody who's going to use it in their 8-hour workday. If you don't have respect for what they do during their 8 hours, what is a problem that they are facing, you don't want to listen to those things and don't want to solve that, then your shelf life is going to be very limited.
Exactly. So who are your ICP and your personas, and what are the major challenges and pains that they're facing?
Of course. So our ICP is, we think of it as a triangle. So one are the brands who are advertising on different platforms, then agencies who are helping these brands, and then finally the platforms, whether retail media networks or ad platforms where all of this content goes and who want to support them. So this is sort of all three of them are reinforcing each other and helping each other out. So those are our ICP. And the typical challenges for them are in both the creative production as well as the analytics of it. On creative production, it is taking one piece of design and then making many, many versions of it, either because every platform has different guidelines. Some will say certain colors are not allowed, language has to be so and so, there can be buttons or no buttons or those kinds of things. So they have to redo that same piece of design multiple times. Or the same content goes into different places on a website or app, and it has different dimensions and aspect ratios. So you have to do the layout of that design all over again. Finally, for either for personalization, market localization, or for testing, you want to make more versions of that content because you are using different models, different offers, different products, and so on. So what ends up happening is this work, which was anyway happening on Photoshop, Figma, Illustrator, After Effects sort of tools, you are having to make copy paste versions of all of those and manually go and change all of those. What happens right after that? Somebody has to go and review all of those versions. They can't use that software. So somebody's downloading it, uploading it into some file. Feedback is given one by one on some project management software. So just the whole process becomes messy from just one thing, which is that I need many more pieces of content, many more versions of the same thing. Now, the flip side of that is analytics, which is I've made so many pieces of content. Each one of those captures so many decisions I've made. How big the text is, what sort of copy I've used, what sort of offers have I given, and hundreds of decisions like that. But there's no platform that gives you insights on which of those is working. If I have to do my next campaign, what should I be changing? So that is the other thing that we are solving for.
Got it. So you talk about compliance and guidelines, right? You talk about content approval, insights. The actual creative is also developed inside the platforms?
Yes. So from scratch, we have built a product similar to Photoshop or Figma, where both static images or videos or GIFs can be made on our product. So that is why it takes years of investment, because from the ground up building a design software, and obviously AI layer on top of that to access some of those features, but that is more recent. But yeah, that has been monumental effort from our team.
Yeah, amazing. And obviously, there are so many changes lately with video creation, specifically with AI. How do you first analyze, the latest progress with the various tools out there, how you as a company are implementing changes on your platform?
Yeah, so I think it's a phenomenal time to be alive because in my earlier life, I used to be at AWS. And when we used to launch a feature maybe once a year at the reInvent conference or maybe a couple of times during the year at key events, people used to go crazy that, oh, AWS has launched this feature or this product has launched. And for years, people would build on top of that. And today, the foundational pieces, the LLMs that we have, or technology on top of that, things like agent to agent or MCP and BAML and those kinds of things. They are moving so fast, and every day a foundational piece is changing. So for us, certainly a very exciting time. A lot of things that our customers were asking us that we felt were fantasy or something extremely futuristic, we are actually able to do that today. So
Yeah.
that way it is phenomenal. But I think there is a misunderstanding from people who are not in this space that you can just type something and get a piece of content and that solves the problem, right? AI is still not a place where you can get that kind of content faster than what a specialized product like Roketium can do. And even once you get it, like you pointed out, the approval workflows, the review and compliance, the analytics, those are all separate pieces. So it's not just about having a prompt where I can type something and get it. It certainly works for SMBs, but we obviously use some of that tech today because earlier we used to have stock content libraries that people could download,
Yeah.
but they no longer need that. Now, the stock content could be a little bit off. So you are able to describe in our product what changes you want to make to that design. You're able to get that.
Oh, nice. What type of, size of customers you're looking at? Is it like more on a mid-size to enterprise, or which category are more relevant for you guys?
Yeah, so typically it is enterprise companies who are customers of Roketium because they have many teams, many products, many regions, many platforms, large budgets, several agencies that they work with. So bringing together all of those people on a single platform, there is tremendous value. And their scale of operations is also large, so a lot of complexity, a lot of operational challenges, which is what Roketium is really built for.
Yeah. And what type of strategy you use to scale Roketium? Is it more like product-led growth? Is it a service? It's like, you need to invest in each customer, over like multiple touches, Zoom calls. What's your growth strategy for the company?
Yeah, so I think a very nice graph that one of these VCs had made was of the number of customers you need and the size of customers that you have. So as the size of your customer grows, the number of customers you need to reach 100 million goes down. So
Right.
right, and he had named those types of customers by and representing an animal. So from a fly, which is maybe $10 in a year, something like a Facebook, for example, to a mouse, to a rabbit, to deer, elephant, and then whale. So today we are in the whale business because most of our customers are above a six figure that they would pay us. So typically when you have those kinds of customers, you can't rely on them discovering and using and adopting the product on your own. Of course, we have a lot of that where customers can get to see what the capabilities are. We don't hide all of that. So on our website, there is all the information that you would need. But typically, we would do a few calls to walk them through what the product is. We do hands-on workshops with them in order to get more customers, the usual stuff of meeting them at industry events where they are coming to find the latest technology, what is happening in the field of AI, creativity, analytics. Those are some things we do. We have very strong agency partners, some of the largest agencies in the world who not only do they need it, but they are also taking us to their clients and figuring out joint go-to-market with us. So that has been a good source of growth for us.
Yeah. So how do you see, the use of AI in this space? And maybe there are a lot of myths, right, that you want to mention also on this topic.
Yeah. So the biggest myth for companies is who want to try it is that they think that AI is one thing and that one thing will solve all the problems. So to debunk that, we in our when we position ourselves to customers also, we walk them through the process, and as they see it, they realize that yes, AI is the way I think of AI, which is I type something and I get content. that is this one part of it. But there are 16 other steps that I need to think of. So that becomes a way of educating customers that when you bring in AI, it will have to solve for many things. And something like Roketium, or for that matter, even agencies, are in the best place to adopt AI because they are the ones doing the execution. So at different places, you can bring in AI. The bigger challenge, though, is that many more companies are still not open to AI because they have AI committees and safety boards and trusts and all of those things that are questioning AI. Again, that goes back to the same thing. When they think of AI, they think somebody's going to type something in a prompt and AI is going to generate an image, right? So we educate them as well that it's not only about that. You mentioned review. In review, people usually have 30 to 50 checks if they want to be thorough of what should go into a piece of content before it goes live. What's the alignment like? Is the accessibility okay? Is the contrast between two colors okay? Are we using words that are not allowed? 30 to 50 checks, sometimes more, because each platform has a different set of guidelines. Now, a lot of that can be automated. So in Roketium, for example, 30 to 50% of that is checked automatically. Now, that is also AI, right? Which is very different from how you would think of it that I type something into a prompt, right? So AI is incredible because now many more of these things that earlier we had to hand code, our brand safety engine that does all of these checks was handwritten to work with all of these checks. We had built our own machine learning models to look for certain kinds of things in imagery, extract that information and check for it. Today, AI can do that very, very easily, right? So a lot more innovation will happen because companies like us will adopt it. A lot of companies will be AI native, which will start from scratch and build on top of the LLMs. So it's going to be a phenomenal time, but people should be aware that they are not trying to solve one problem. It's a workflow, it's an operational problem. So there will be 50 to 100 places where you want to adopt it.
Yeah. And I think one of the greatest advantages of the platform is that it serves multiple needs, right? You have the compliance issue, you have the approval of the content, the analytics side of things, and the insights. Yes, you use AI in each one of those fields to gain more capabilities, shorten time to market, but the overall functionalities is what makes it unique, what makes it different. And it's some of the strength that I see that is very, very relevant, and obviously why big companies and big brands are working with you. Let's talk about the insights side of things, right? I mean, how do you gather the data, and what type of analytics do you implement?
Yeah, so a big part and the reason why this thing even started, this product, is that the platforms where content is deployed, whether it's ad platforms or retail media networks like Amazon, Walmart, Instacart, Target, whoever, they give you information about for every ad that you have run, how much you've spent, how much you have earned out of that, and so on. They don't tell you what was in the ad. They don't tell you what sort of imagery was used, what sort of offers were used, what was the design, any of those kinds of things. So that was the key insight, that we are helping people compose all of these different pieces into getting the content. What if we could help them deconstruct it and help them understand they made certain choices? How has that led to an impact? So the way this works is we connect to the platforms where campaigns were run. We pull the analytics information from there that they already have, which is how much was spent, who took action, which were the ads, and so on. And from that, we extract the creative and then deconstruct it. We call those different lenses. So like I said, product, messaging, branding, layout, styles, all of those things. And there are 50 to 80 of these standard attributes that we extract. Plus, we allow our customers to give their custom attributes powered through our systems, LLMs, and so on. And that is automatically extracted for every piece of content. And you get access to a dashboard where you can go slice deeper into any of those things and say that for this channel, for these kinds of campaigns in this region, show me the breakdown of performance based on the kind of copy that I have used, right? Separately, we have built a very powerful Copilot engine that allows you to ask any of these questions and then does a very, like you would have used deep research by in OpenAI or Anthropic's chatbots. We do something like that and go through the same underlying data and give you very deep insights, including recommendations of what you're supposed to do, right? And the best part is that you're also making the content on Roketium. So you're able to take those recommendations and directly then feed it into Roketium so that you can start with your new brief and starting to make content changes from there. So it's two sides of the same coin. It's not analytics for the sake of analytics. One is to give visibility about what has happened so you can make some changes. One is to give you recommendations and insights so that you don't have to sift through so much data. There is a AI which is doing that for you.
One of the challenges these days is that you have so much data, right? And the challenge is, what do you want to ask? What's the question really, right? Because you can get confused. What are some of the important parameters or KPIs that you're looking at, right, in the success of a campaign or the creative?
Yeah, so this is exactly one of the challenges that we realized would be there with copilots, which is people don't know what to ask it. So that empty search box kind of a problem. On Google, it's fine. You're trying to go somewhere, you're trying to buy something, you would type it. But something like analytics is very exploratory. You're looking for a needle in the haystack. What do you ask? So we give some placeholder queries where people can go in and change a few things, because we know what are the standard things on each platform that have to be done. So as an example, the kind of campaigns that would be there, which are at different levels of the funnel. So for example, awareness campaigns, you are typically looking at the KPI that you would look for would be CPM, for example. How much am I spending? How many people are seeing it? You don't worry so much about how many have clicked or how many have bought, right? But when it comes to a traffic campaign, you want to see how much traffic did I drive to the website or the app or whichever thing you're trying to do. And that's where you might look at something like CTR and the number of clicks. And when you have conversion or sales campaigns, you're looking at what's the conversion rate, what's the ROAS that I got out of it, or what is the cost per install, cost per action, those kinds of things, right? So depending on which stage of the funnel you're looking at, the metrics are different. And every platform has its own best practices, different things to look at. That's why we have codified a lot of these things in our engine, so that as you type something, even if it's a little bit vague, that plus the knowledge that we have of the platforms plus your brand gets added as additional context, and you get a very rich answer. But yeah, there are a lot of strategies that are we've also realized that a lot of work, even on the analytics side, is repetitive. Every morning I might come and look at my top performing ads, or I might look at which ads are decaying, or any of those kinds of things. Now Roketium is also building a way to run these kinds of reports in the background, so that you don't have to go and look at it. We will run it. This AI will look through the responses and tell you when there is some action to be taken. If you want to get a report every day, that's fine. But if we want to tell you that, hey, now you need to look at this. And by the way, here are recommendations. So it just goes one step further. It's like having a chief of staff for every person in your team.
And Satej, this is true for both images and videos?
Yeah, so video, that's a great question because video is a lot harder to work with. So, what Roketium does today is it extracts key frames within the video and performs the same analysis on top of it. What is lacking today is an easy way to, it's easy today to ask about each of those frames. That, hey, for the first frame where there was drop off of attention across all of my creatives, explain something to me. But now looking at the whole video and giving insights, that's a harder piece. So it's more the data presentation part of it that we are working on, but otherwise it would be exactly the same. And basic analysis of video you can already do on our platform.
Yeah. And we all know that marketing today is getting more and more complicated because all these new channels, and like every channel is another community you need to get expertise on, right? You have the meta side of things with Facebook and Instagram, then you have TikTok and YouTube. I mean, obviously so many different platforms, and you mentioned also the retail media networks and some of the marketplaces. So what's the target? I mean, for these companies, are they trying to just deploy more content like everywhere, or are they trying to find out and zoom into those platforms that are performing better for them? Is it a matter of just scale up throughput in a smarter and cheaper way?
Yeah, so I would say typically they work in this 80-20 kind of a mode. That is what we have seen, where in different places they apply that. So one is the optimization and scaling out that you talked about. So that would be the BAU campaigns, the business as usual, for campaigns that you are going to run no matter what. For those, they are just trying to bring in efficiency. They are trying to bring in more scale, make small tweaks to it. Then there are going to be more experimental things. For that, they might have, let's say, that's where an Ogilvy has to come in, where you are, coming up with more creative concepts and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Same way, even when it comes to platforms, majority of the budget goes to platforms that have already been proven, but a 20% of it is set aside to experiment, because it's not just that, TikTok has suddenly come new. There aren't many platforms that suddenly come up, but they might launch a new placement, or they might have a new ad format that you want to try. So most of the budget goes into things that are proven, but 5, 10, 20% of the budget is set aside for trying new stuff. And that's really what marketing is, right? And I spoke about evolution. That is what happens in the marketing world as well, because every platform is trying to outdo each other. Like an Amazon, for example, has, I don't know what, 85, 90%, whatever, some absurd number of share of the advertising revenue within retail media networks, right? So now many more retailers are trying to launch their ad platforms. They're going to all of these brands where they've already built trust over the years as a retail partner. Now they're saying, hey, we'll give you more attention. So they will set aside some budget for that, but it won't suddenly become that, hey, half of my Amazon budget is going away, or half of my Facebook or Google budget is going away.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, Satej, I want to move to the next part, right, and talk about leadership and company culture. I want to ask you, how do you maintain innovation in a tech world, without burning out your team?
Yeah, so what we have seen really for our team, what has worked is that a lot of them are extremely talented. They want to do things on their own. I have personally moved away from me pushing the team to say that, hey, here is the latest tech, because even as recently as 2023, when a lot of this stuff was happening, I was the one that created that generative AI channel and said that, hey, team, look at this. This is very powerful. I was pushing them. I was top down trying to say that, hey, this needs to be, we need to take out 2 people from every team and we need to add some AI feature. And that was the worst AI implementation that we have done yet, because people weren't fully bought in. They didn't understand the reason for it. It felt like we were jumping onto some hype train.
Well,
Right? But today they have seen it.
yeah.
They have seen it. They use it on a daily basis. They write code with that. They design with that. Product managers are going from a sketch to a piece of design and brainstorming over that instead of just talking about it or waiting on design. So it's a phenomenal shift that they themselves have seen. So today, what I've realized is, if I get out of their way, just help them see the context of where we are, why something needs to be done, then they are going out there and doing that. In the last week alone, our team has won 2 hackathons, including one designer who won a developer hackathon by writing code during that thing, right? So it is a very talented team. We just need to give them the context of why something needs to be done, the opportunity. So what is that? There is a saying that if you want to get to a destination, don't build a ship. Get them to yearn for the sea, something like that.
Right.
So if everybody is yearning for the journey, yearning for the destination, whether it's an island, whether it's a treasure hunt that they are doing, I think that is what has worked. So there is a lot of talent, but I think top down works in some cases, but in most cases that cannot work.
Nice. And what are some of the tips or advice you can provide to other founders out there trying to navigate, today's marketing world?
Yeah, so I think the number one thing would be to focus on a real pain point that somebody is feeling. The pain point, if they are facing today, means that it is not solved by somebody else. Otherwise, they would have already solved it, right? So if it is a pain that they care about, that is what you want to solve for. Because Roketium has struggled through that in the first 5 years at least, where we did not start because there was a pain point. We started because I had made some money from the exit of the last startup where I was working. And this was an idea in my head. And that's really great in a way that you have passion for an idea and you're starting for that. But if there's no real person for whom you're building it, then it's just going to be software that will be cute and it will be interesting, but it will not really add value and there won't be any life. So really focus on who it is for, what problem they're facing, why are they not able to solve it today, and everything else will follow from there.
Yeah, and obviously working with those target customers that you're trying to approach, less than brainstorming in cafes and trying to figure out what to do, right? I think
don't meet other founders and investors and advisors. Only meet your customers. The real truth is in your customers and in your team.
Amazing. Satej, anything else you want to add?
No, I think this is a very interesting time. We are all blessed to be here. I know for a lot of founders, for a lot of even team members, whether startups or not, there's a lot of uncertainty about what would happen, whether they'll have jobs or no. Nobody really knows. This is a very chaotic time for all of us. But I think, in a way, we are blessed to have this kind of futuristic tech at our hands. So let's build something great. Let's enjoy ourselves, and whatever happens will happen from there.
Amazing. And how people can find you and Roketium?
Yeah, so my name is Satej Sirur. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there. Roketium is at roketium.com, and all the information about us is there. And any of our team members is happy to get in touch with you if you are a largest team, have complex operations and need help.
Amazing, Satej. Thank you so much. I learned a lot. I think it was very, very interesting. I wish you all the best and great success.
Thank you so much. It was lovely speaking with you.
Thank you for listening to the end of this episode. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe so you won't miss any of our future content. And if you could share this with just one person, it would make all the difference. Are you looking to accelerate your sales with the power of shoppable video? Explore Vimi, the video commerce platform that includes live shopping, shoppable video, and social commerce capabilities. Visit Vimi at www.vimi.net, that's VIMMI.net, where you can start with a free for life package. We appreciate your support and look forward to bringing you more valuable insight in our next episode.